Wir sagen von Herzen Danke. Danke für über 700.000 begeisterte Kunden. Danke für Ihr Vertrauen seit über 40 Jahren. Lassen auch Sie sich persönlich und individuell beraten in Ihrem Küchenquelle-Studio Düsseldorf. Feiern Sie mit uns und wir schenken Ihnen 40% auf Ihre Traumküche. Alle Infos auf küchenquelle.de. Küchenquelle. Wir gestalten zu Hause.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to another program about your Kundalini Awakening experience. My name is Chrism, and I would like to introduce Santara Kundalini and bring her on just so everybody knows that we are both here, present and accounted for. Hello, Santara.
Hi, Chrism. It's good to be here.
Well, that came out a little bit garbled, but I think you said, hi, Chrism.
Did you get that? Here.
It didn't come out too clear.
Hello. Oh, okay, then. Let me do it again. Hello, Chrism. It's good to be here.
Thank you, Santara.
Is that better?
Yeah, that last part came out clearly. Okay, all right, and we'll go ahead and get started on the program here. I am not able to see the chat room today, so I don't know if there's anybody in the chat room. I am in Minnesota, central United States, about 2 time zones away from where I usually do the show. So instead of being 3 o'clock on the West Coast right now, it's 5 o'clock Central Time of the United States. And so I welcome everybody who may be listening to this in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. That would be Minneapolis and St. Paul. And we'll go ahead and begin our program. Hopefully the sound is coming through, and I will count on anybody who may be listening to let Santara know if the sound isn't coming through. Evidently, she may be able to see the chat room. Okay, so Kundalini is not such a brand that people can just decide where the truth of it resides and where it doesn't reside. Because Kundalini is in all cultures, therefore the Kundalini itself is represented through all the cultures, and therefore its truth is represented through all the cultures. And as I have written a while back in an article that has been posted on Facebook group, the group's name is Kundalini Awakening ! On Facebook. Enlightenment is a never-ending process. There is no end point with enlightenment. It is a constant level of a union towards the ultimate unity, which would be that with the Supreme Being. And as that journey carries us onward, well, with the Kundalini, it is part of that journey, and it takes us into a different level of the journey, a higher level and a more expansive level than what we have walked as we have been behind the 5-body, 5-sense paradigm. So, with that understanding, some other guru or a disciple of a guru may say, well, gurus don't go online. They don't offer their services online. They don't give the general public free access to their information. They don't come onto radio programs or blog talk radio programs, and they're not interviewed. They don't write the narratives of documentary movies about the Kundalini. Anybody that does that is not a real guru because because they maybe just don't fit the expected design of that particular student or disciple or master or guru or teacher. I am going to suggest that Kundalini is not so restrictive in its expression, that it is not so confined to somebody's sweet little ideology that just happens to mix well with their belief system. Kundalini doesn't really honor the belief system. It honors the belief system that brings a person to the point where they can have Kundalini. But after that, the belief system begins to fall away, and it's the Kundalini Teachings that will replace that belief system. And yet the hubris of people, the egos of individuals will cling to the familiar. They'll cling to that aspect of their belief system that they feel has brought them to enlightenment. And they will hold to those teachings whether or not the Kundalini is giving them anything different. And in such a way do we continuously find ways to resist the Kundalini. To resist the Kundalini. And this is something that I think people need to really pay attention to. Your belief system, as wonderful and perfect as it is for you, as it has brought you into the folds of enlightenment, ends at the beginning of those folds of enlightenment. Okay, it's not designed really to keep you imprisoned within the ideologies of a 5 cents behind the veil belief system. Kundalini begins to expand and strengthen the understandings that are outside of the box of religion, outside of the constraints of the mental, emotional, physical, psychological world. It's not about clinging to the past that you may more fully understand your present. It's about opening to the presence of grace within you, opening to the presence of the divine light within you as it expands you in all directions at the same time. Gurus aren't a teacher. Call it a teacher can be, guru is the same as teacher, which is the same as master, which is the same as maestro. It's all about passing on knowledge, wisdom knowledge. And in the case of what we do here, the wisdom from the Kundalini. Those of you that have Kundalini already know exactly of what I'm speaking of. Santara, can you ask the chat room if the sound is coming through clearly? And let me know. You feel free to interrupt me, but let me know if that sound is coming through. I can't see the chat room. I'm borrowing one of Rosemary's laptops right now, and I checked it last night to see if I could get on the chat room, and I could, but this afternoon, of course, is a new day, and it's not always so easy.
Yes, Chrism, you are actually coming through. Vincent says it, Mary Jean says it, Manisha, the sound is really good. It's interesting because you're actually here in the chat room as Kaz1. I don't know why you can't see it, but anyway. In the studio,
That is quite strange, I have to say.
Yeah, because...
Yeah.
But we have a glass speaker, we have Manisha, we have Mary Jean, we have Odin, we have Vincent, we have Cole.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm sorry. For whatever reason, I'm getting the 1, 2, 3 flash chat loading UI components, and then the perpetual spin of the little dial to the right. It's like it's doing the first Tibetan ad nauseum. So yeah, there we go.
Just give it a try again, maybe. Just turn it off and turn it on again and see, maybe.
I'm not even sure I can turn it off. Let's see. Okay. All right. It takes me into a different window, but maybe so.
Anyway,
maybe
sound is good. Sound is good, Chrism.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. All right. And so when you read of people saying, oh, this guru is false or this guru is true, or you begin to see people setting up the parameters from their own egoic expectations of what is truth and what is false and what is a real teacher and what is an unreal teacher or an untruthful teacher, you need to really understand that that Kundalini is not such a restricted component of divine grace that it will only come to a person who's not going to go on the internet, who is not going to go on radio programs, who is not going to even say be published in a book and just going to keep all his or her secrets absolutely secret and behind the temple walls, and nobody but the very, very, very special consecrated virginal alkalites are going to be allowed to see it. And I can understand why people would flow or follow or fall into such an understanding, because that's how it has been. That's how it has been for thousands of years in some places. And I got news for these folks. Wake up and smell the Tulsi tea, because I didn't ask for Kundalini, it came to me, and as it comes to me, I'm giving it to thee. You get to know this knowledge. The Kundalini is at the base of your spine, just like it is everybody else's spinal base. The Kundalini can come up without the lotus feet of some guru sitting in India somewhere. It can come up without the constrictions or the confinements of a belief system. It can just come to a person. God realization is a real thing. And that's divine realization, self-realization. Yogananda knew this. Jesus knew this. Gautama Buddha knew this. But not everybody does. And so this part of this program, we're educating people on the idea that Kundalini does not necessarily belong locked away in the deepest, darkest cavern behind the temple walls so that nobody gets to read the information. Kundalini wants to be in everybody's heart and mind and expression. The noble qualities want to be in everybody's heart and mind and expression. Everybody should know about Kriyas, the automatic movements that the Kundalini brings. Everybody should know about bliss and ecstasy and what the evolutionary direction of humanity is. Everybody should know this. Not some guy or gal sitting behind a temple hoarding the knowledge to keep themselves relevant in whatever society they're in. Relevancy is not that important except to the ego machinations of some cultural ideology. Secrecy about Kundalini information is wrong. Kundalini belongs to everyone. It is our birthright as human beings, and to sequester it away as a way of bringing power to oneself or the relevancy of wisdom to oneself is not the way I'm going to go with it. I will give this away. I will put this out there. I'm doing this very thing in Minnesota right now. Just finished talking to a bunch of Catholic sisters. Going to be speaking in less than an hour to a bunch of other people gathered together, so we can all celebrate the knowledge of the Kundalini together. And I want to thank Amelia Santara Kundalini on Facebook, for setting up this radio show, and her husband John for setting up this radio show so that the very thing that I'm talking about right here, right now, can take place. I would like to thank Rosemary Goliath for setting up all of these talks in and around the Twin Cities of Minnesota, Minneapolis, and St. Paul, so that people can learn about this. People can know about this. They don't have to sell their house and home and, travel to India and stand outside the temple walls going, oh, can I learn about Kundalini information? I think I might have it. These are not those days anymore. And the very fact that people come onto any of the groups that I have and lambaste me for giving this information away is, I think, a form of I don't know what the word is. Congratulations, I guess. You're doing the right thing, because the times have changed. The digital technology that we're speaking over right now is designed for us to exchange information through communication. And the communications we've been giving since day one, since 12/12/2012, is about the Kundalini, all about the Kundalini. And not just my understanding, but Santara Kundalini's understandings, and every other person that we have had call in or write in questions about their Kundalini awakening. It is to be shared, ladies and gentlemen. It is to be shared. It is to be given. It isn't to be sold. And it isn't to be sequestered. It's to be given in the most expanded way that it possibly can. Rosemary understands this. She goes around this town, this town of about 1 million people, and she sets up these programs and these talks and these meetings so that people can learn about this. And learn they do. Not everybody can go to the seminar. Some people have family events planned on that day. They got to go to that family event. I support that. But I try to give them as much information at these talks as I possibly can within the hour or two that I can give. But I want to encourage everybody who can come to an event to come to these events. 16 hours of learning is a big deal. 16 hours of interactive Kundalini specific information and activities is a big deal, and it's very, very, very helpful for a person. I would invite you, and I think your Kundalini would invite you, to do everything that you can do to attend one of these seminars. I'm not going to continuously do these ad infinitum. There will be a time when I just stop, or I get stopped. That time will come. So I want to encourage anybody and everybody who is listening to this in the archives. Hello, all of you in the archives. Hello, hello. In the archives, those of you who are listening right now, consider it. Consider it. Now, this is going to be a shorter program, and so I do want to get to the questions. It's a shorter program because I have that talk I want to give in a little bit, and I have to give at least a half-hour travel time to get there. We had beautiful, beautiful lightning and rain here. It's so nice, so different from California. But anyway, I'm going to bring Her Holiness Amelia Kundalini online. And hello.
Hi, Chrism, and can I just say, attending a seminar for people listening, it's probably the best gift you can give yourself if you're Kundalini active or awakened or you wish to be, because meeting with Chrism in person, meeting other Kundalini people, listening to Chrism's teachings and participating and receiving Shakti pack from him, it is like nothing you will ever have experienced before. So if you're listening to this program, if you're interested in Kundalini Awakening, the fact that you're hearing this is no accident. And if you're able to get to Rosemary, the one that Rosemary is organising this month, next week, I think it is. I'm sure she'll tell us the dates in a minute. That's the nearest one that you could attend. Now, I would really encourage you to make that effort and just do it. You will be really, really glad you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that.
It's the 14th and the 15th of November. That's this next weekend. It's from 9 to 5, both days. It's about 16 hours of direct Kundalini information and interactivity. So you get to meet a lot of Kundalini activated or awakened people. And really, a lot of the joy is the people that come, the people that these seminars attract. So do make it a point. And I see.
Yeah, and in the chat.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm saying in the chat room, Manisha is saying nothing tops meeting Chrism in person, and that's because Manisha met you, Chrism, for the first time in London recently, having been on the groups for quite some time, and she had to make a big effort. She had to leave her country and travel over across the water to London, to the UK, and really, to be honest with you, that took effort, and she is so happy that she did. So let that be another invitation for you to also make that same effort.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I think that she had to make a pilgrimage, and sometimes that is something that one must do, is to make that pilgrimage. Make it a spiritual pilgrimage, like a Manisha did, and like other people have done and do. And so it is very important to meet other Kundalini awakened people, and now because of the shortness of the show, I'd like to turn this over to Santara and the questions that she has collected from the groups. Take it away, Santara.
Okay. I just have a few today. So the first question came in. It's about balancing karma, and I'm going to read it exactly as it was written. We have to balance karma. So if a man has too many good karmas, does he need to do bad karmas to balance them?
No, absolutely not. The direction of evolution is towards nobility, towards the noble behaviors. And believe me, there's enough karma, negative karma, to go around that you don't have to do bad karma in order to find balance. I think this gentleman may be talking about golden handcuffs, where if you do so much good karma, you have to come back in order to unload that karma. No worries. That is not a truth. The golden handcuffs will assist you if you choose to come back. If you choose to come back, and a lot of awakened people will choose to come back simply because they want to help humanity. They want to assist humanity in its continuous upgrade into the divine platform, but to have, there really isn't too much of a worry when it comes to having so much good karma that you're going to be forced to come back in order to live out that good karma. But if you do have a lot of good karma and then you do come back, well, then it sets you up in a way that good karma will allow you to do the level of good works that you're trying and intending to do when you once again step within the veil of forgetfulness. Over.
Okay, Chrism. Thank you. The next question. How does Chrism know he is enlightened?
How do I know I'm enlightened? Well, there's various ways.
Now, Chrism, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you if I may. If I get a caller, I'm just going to go and answer it, okay? And you can see in the studio that that's what I'll be doing, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. When one has divine with or union with divine, the enlightenment process is set. One can see the enlightenment when they look up in between their eyebrows with their eyes closed in a dark room. One can see for myself, it was a white gold light that was emanating from inside my skull, just bright enough, easily bright enough for the eyes to see it in a dark room with eyes closed. In light, in mint. The other ways that I know that this has occurred is through what occurred within the union of the divine, the abject joy and love and grace and happiness and ecstasy and bliss and union with all creation that occurred. The movements of the body while that was occurring, the inner hurricane, the inner earthquake that occurred as that was occurring, the joining of the chakras that I distinctly remember when that occurred, when the Kundalini came up the spine, and the feeling of having that Uraeus come out of my forehead. And then all the subsequent phenomena that happened afterwards are all consistent with what we understand within the limited human form as an enlightenment platform, a platform of grace, a platform of the human divine or the flesh-made divine. And I have had these, but there is no there's nothing on TV that says, oh, well, if you have this or that, then therefore you're an enlightened person. And there's no guru in India or Tibet or the Himalayas that's going to come down out of their cave and go, well, if you have such and such, this or that, well, therefore you are enlightened. The enlightenment comes from grace. It comes from the divine. And nobody has enough reference point within divinity to qualify another person. And that's not necessarily. Let me back up on that, because pretty much you can tell when you're Kundalini awakened whether another person has that awakened quality. So that in of itself is a reference point. Basically, I think it's best to just, if you have to grade them on whether a person is enlightened or not, look at what they write. Listen to what they're saying. Look at the concepts that they're putting out there, and let those writings, let those concepts speak for the fact or the lack of fact of the enlightenment within the individual. I would say do that. I know that I have reached into those areas. There is not an enlightenmentometer that I know of, just like there isn't a Kundaliniometer. We can't begin to start measuring levels of enlightenment with a person, because it goes far beyond the cognitive measurements that our human mind can wrap itself around. It's not of the physical. It is not and because it's not of the physical, therefore physical applications and physical cognitive theories and assumptions do not apply to the understanding and the experiential understanding of enlightenment. You can listen to the truth of the person that says they're enlightened. I mean, so for instance, if a person says, okay, I'm an enlightened teacher, and they sit up on a stage and they got flowers all around them and they got a microphone that swings over them, and one person stands up and says, I've been having spontaneous movements for no reason, and I'm not quite sure what they are, and I'm giving all the, they're giving all of the experiences of the Kriya, but the teacher says, oh, well, you should just ignore that. That isn't really anything for you to be concerned with. Well, then, based upon your knowledge of your own equation, whether or not you understand what a Kriya is or not, you can find a level of determination that can be had for whether or not that teacher is enlightened, at least within the understandings of Kundalini. You can feel what that teacher is giving. You can also feel what a person is giving by virtue of the actions they're taking in life. Are they serving other people? Are they going out of their way, free of charge, to give people assistance, to give people help, to give people the opportunity to expand themselves and learn through internal triumphant understanding given from that teacher? Or are they hiding it behind the temple walls and only allowing the sacred few to come through and to be given these special teachings? Or, what are they doing with it? Are they out helping people with it? There's this guy named John Lee on YouTube. I believe his name is John Lee. And this man was in Indonesia, and he'd been the recipient of some very, very, very high teaching. And these teachings allowed him to use the chi force, in a very, very special way. John Lee was able to set fire to newspapers using chi force. He had a health clinic that was being used for anybody. I mean, people would trade him chickens for his work, and he would use the chi force to help babies and mothers and men of all different walks of life. And he would charge very, very, very little for his service, but his service was extremely effective. And they got him on YouTube and showing him doing certain things. They showed him, for those of you who are phenomena junkies, they showed him actually lighting a fire with his palm chakras, and so showing how effective chi can be at physical manipulation. And some people would call him enlightened for doing that. But what occurred is that he was goaded by the film crew to show certain things like pushing a chopstick through solid mahogany. The chopstick is such a weak wood compared to mahogany. Mahogany is like one of the hardest woods. And he did that, but he accidentally, a splinter came off of the chopstick and poked one of the camera crew women in the eye, and he had to use his chi to fix her eye. And that is when his teachers appeared to him, and they appeared to him in a vision, and they scolded him for using his special skills in such a demeaning way, or a non-spiritual, non-divine way. And he was instructed to close his clinic, and he disappeared into the jungles of Indonesia, and he's never been seen again. This is how important it is for people to walk those noble, self-aggrandizing paths. People would call him enlightened, and I think the work that he was doing was indeed enlightened work. Was he enlightened? Not quite, perhaps, because he would have had the wisdom not to fall prey to the camera crew's goadings, of him to demonstrate his special skills in such a way. And so, how does Chrism know he's enlightened? Well, enlightenment has told me so, I guess, would be another way to put it. So I guess I'll just have to end it with that. Over, my dear.
Excellent. Thank you, Chrism. Okay, the next question is from the chat room. It's from Vincent. It says, what happens if you are self-realized with entity attachment?
You use the crucible of reversal, and you use the noble qualities to offset the corruptive qualities that the entity attachment will likely bring upon you. It is an imposed, a self-imposed or a divinely imposed equation to keep you on the right track by not doing what the corruptive influence would try to have you do. Over.
Okay, and he had said afterwards, I have this attachment to surrender, and I asked him, to what? And he said an attachment
He's surrendering
an attachment he has.
So surrendering to the entity.
I'm not too sure. I'm not following let's leave that bit go, Chrism, because I might be misunderstanding him. So thank you for answering the first part. You wrote on the group, I'm just wondering if you'd say a little bit about it. It was, you wrote, some choose before they incarnate and some choose after, and none are accidental choices. Could you say a little bit about that?
Some choose to participate in a pattern of probability that would include Kundalini Awakening, and some choose before they take the body that is the path that they're going to really focus on having come to them, and some of them will have guidance that will really directly guide them into that, like you, Centaura. Some are guided to the idea, but they haven't experienced it yet. They didn't come in with a level of Kundalini already intact, expressive Kundalini already intact. And this is the choice that is made as they are in the body. It will be the first time that they have had the Kundalini come to them. And so that is the choice that is made while under the veil. And that is a powerful choice. That is a very, very powerful choice because it is a life-changing choice. And it is just as effective as the person who came in, although there seems to be somewhat of a bias that people create, of course, a competitive bias, by saying, well, since I just had it come to me naturally, well, then I am so naturally there already that I can just naturally, because I'm so natural about it. God just wanted me to have it, so my wisdom is just so astounding and so in place that I'm naturally there. I am the real deal, and the person who is striving to have it for the first time in their life is somehow less than that, and that's just not the case at all. Anybody that is striving towards the Kundalini and striving within the understanding that Kundalini is there for them to have is on that enlightened path. And it doesn't matter where you're standing within the heavenly fields, just as long as you're standing there.
This is important, this is so true.
It's just so natural.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Thank you. Have you more to say, or is that over?
Yes, that's over. I'll leave that alone.
Okay. Okay.
I start going into my parodies of these people.
No, parodies are interesting because they can express in very few words a lot. Okay. So the next question is, there was a question about colours. Somebody asked on the group, is the most common energy you see around a person pink and then a lighter blue, because that was what they were experiencing. And you mentioned about, the colours of the chakras, but you also spoke a little bit about colours around people and that this was what she was seeing. Could you say something about that, Chrism?
Yeah. There are different levels of colors around a person. Each chakra has an emanation that will come through for an individual. The first chakra in its pure state is that deep dark ruby red, and so on and so forth, with the beautiful orange and the brilliant yellow and the beautiful green and so on and so forth. The level of color that a person may be allowed to see at any specific given moment will be determined by the level of energy or the consciousness of the Kundalini that is coming through them at a given time. So, for instance, magenta, if you're seeing everything, with, say, a magenta surround or around them, or a blue surround or around them, it's more of an indication of where that person is within the awakening scenario rather than what that color has a certain meaning, and that it is indeed covering that object. So the object may be magenta to one Kundalini person, and it may be gold or the silver white glistening to another Kundalini person. These viewing colors will change. They will change over time, and it's best to just go into a level of neutrality and look at what is without placing a judgment on why something is what it is. It is best when you're viewing to stay in a level of neutrality so that whatever needs to appear, whatever the Kundalini consciousness wants to have appear for you can appear without you trying to make a judgment based upon what the color is or is not. You're going to hear thunder, I think. Whoa, that was big. Love that stuff.
Is that thunder? Oh, wow.
Wow, it was a big boom, and it was like a huge, huge heartbeat in the middle of the house here. How cool. Wow.
Wow.
I feel like running naked in the rain right now, and the show
I bet you want to get up at least and go look.
I do.
Is it raining?
It's raining torrentially. It's torrentially raining here. It's very
just end the show. Put down the clothes and run out that door.
This would be the kind of storm that I would take you out into down in Cary.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Okay, I interrupted you, or at least the thunder did. Okay, thank you, Chrism. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. With the glistening, that appears as without any kind. I mean, typically, that is all one color. That is all kind of a silverish, sparkleish, whitish type of color, and that covers everything. There's not a multicolored aspect to it. Typically, a person's life force will emanate about 4 inches off of their body. That is typically white, and the other colors coming off of the human body will be emanations of each chakra, and each of those colors will emanate from the particular chakra that the person is really expressing at that moment. And so the chakra colors and the auric colors of an individual will change constantly. And if the individual was looking at, say, a tree or a person through the colors of their aura, that can also paint a different picture than what is truly, in reality, being presented. Over.
Okay. Thank you, Chrism. I got bumped off there by the thunder or something. The next question, which is my last question, is something similar. Well, it's a little bit. It's about meditation. People often ask about meditation and things that occur during their meditation, and people wonder what should they do. And the question that was asked on the group was, during meditation, I feel pressure in my head, like it comes from my brain and from my throat. So what can I do?
During meditation, they feel pressure in their brain and their throat?
Yeah, there's a pressure in their head, and it feels like it's coming from their brain and up from their throat. And I suppose people often speak about what, other sensations and things that they feel, tactile, visual, maybe. So what should people do when such things occur during meditation?
Well, they should make sure that their tongue tip is behind their upper front teeth. They should make sure that their eyes are gently up, not forcing the eyes to be up too hard. They should make sure that their chin is slightly down towards their chest, not all the way down, but slightly down. Here comes some more thunder. It would be really nice. You probably didn't hear that.
I did hear that. That's amazing.
Wow. Whoa. The whole house is shaking now. Very cool. Very cool. Anyway, I think God is really behind what we're saying today. There's little accent points here. So I think that their fingers need to be in Gyan Mudra, which is forefinger tip to thumb tip, and the other three spread out. I think they should be seated in easy pose, not the full-on yoga position, but just, like your legs crossed gently, comfortably, or sitting in a chair towards the edge of the chair. And I think that they should just be meditating that way and allow the pressure to come. Don't try to stop it. What you may want to do, you may want to feel, is it your resistance to the pressure or your fear of the new sensation that is causing you to have a fearful approach to that? Or, what is causing, if it's not causing you direct abject pain, what is causing you? Another student I have, when they do devotion a lot, they're getting the hot knives coming through certain areas of the fontanelle, and sometimes, it's just too much energy, and too much energy will be received by the body as a painful event, and so you pull back on the devotion, and you allow the body to process what it needs to process. Well, maybe with this individual that they need to allow the body to process more rather than just chasing the Kundalini. Sometimes people chase the Kundalini so much, and they get into the routine of chasing it so much and so fast and so furious that they overload the body. And the body will indeed respond in a very painful format. And so that is something else to be considered, is we need to understand that the physical body and the emotional body has limitations, and these limitations need to be honored by the ego of the individual that is chasing Kundalini for whatever reason so fast and so furious. So that's about what I'm going to have to say about that, my dear.
Okay, Chrism, thank you. Well, I think with the storm there, with that thunder and rain, and I know you want to go out, and I've come to the end of the questions, and you have a journey ahead of you. Perhaps we should finish now. What do you think?
Well, I first of all, I'd like to thank you and John and the O'Connor crowd for making this program possible. Thank you very much to all of you. And
actually, I will just give my usual little spiel, if I may, about the donations. If you would like to make a donation, you can go to this website at www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, and in the upper right hand corner you will see a button, and you can donate there. All donations are gratefully received, and all donations are really, really welcome and are essential for this work to continue. So if you are in a position to donate, and if you would like to, then please do go to that website. There is another one. It is www.Chrism-Kundalini.blogspot.com, and again, you are most welcome to make a donation there. That's it, Chrism, from here. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Rosemary has an announcement she would like to make.
Yes, I would like to welcome people who are still considering coming. Welcome all, but if you're considering coming this Saturday and Sunday, we have room for you, and we are working now on preparing materials. So do let us know, 651-452-3161.
That's the phone number.
Yes, house number, and my cell phone is 651-329-9615. My email is rosemaryg@usinternet.com. And I say in capital letters in bold what Amelia has said and what Chrism, especially Amelia, is saying in being with Chrism in a seminar. There is no greater, other than Kundalini directly, there's nothing that is as helpful in receiving from Chrism. And I encourage anyone considering, call me. There may be things to work out. We can do that.
Thank you, my dear Rosemary. And I would like to offer to those that are listening now on their computers and cell phones, and to those listening in the archives, you can go to Chrism.Kundalini on the YouTube network. You can go to Chris Mitchell on the Facebook network. We have groups. One group on Facebook is called Kundalini Awakening ! has about 10,000 people. We have another group, Kundalini Awakening Systems 2, has about 3,500 people. We have various groups like Kundalini Awakening Systems 3. We have another group called Kundalini People. We have a private group, and you can private email me about what that group is. We have a Yahoo group called Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at Yahoo Groups, and we're also on Google Plus with the group that is called Kundalini Awakening ! So I would like to invite you to visit any or all of those groups. You can private email me at kfireforall, KFIREFORALL at yahoo.com and ask me any questions that you may have about the Kundalini Awakening that you may be experiencing or somebody close to you. And I want what? Oh. And
I'm just after seeing Josephine has probably missed the fact that the show is coming to an end early. She was on earlier and she popped off, and I can see her back again. So hi, Josephine. The show is about to end.
Yeah, gotta leave early.
And just before we do, I want to say thank you to Cole, Vincent, Mary Jean, Manisha, the guests with the numbers after them, Atlantis Seeker, and a few other people who have been bumped off as well. It was nice to see you in the chat room today. And hopefully Chrism will have his chat room up again next week.
Hopefully. No guarantees, though. Blog Talk always has an interesting surprise waiting for us. Anyway, I would like to go ahead and end this episode of Conversations about your Kundalini Awakening experience. And thank you all for joining us. And here we go.
Herr Kahn, wie holt man eigentlich das Double?
Ganz einfach, mit einem neuen Samsung QLED TV.
Jetzt QLED TV Aktionsgerät kaufen und Gutscheine für 6 Monate Live-Fußball aus europäischen Top-Ligen bekommen. Über Sky Ticket, DAZN und Eurosport Player in der Samsung Sportworld App. Mehr Infos auf samsung.de/sportworld.
Nur bis zum 17. Juni.